All right. Welcome to the Golf Locker Room. We got a big show today, a huge show today. And, we just going to start it because, we'll be here all night. We got great guests, great subject matter. It's going to be a great time. Season 2, episode 27 on the Golf Locker Room podcast. What's up, Big Siff?
What's good with you, bro? Everything good in LA?
Everything is good in LA. It's a little windy today. We've been having these Santa Anas. Couldn't even get to the rain. Just 50-mile-an-hour gusts. It was sunny, clear skies, no smog because of the wind. But, you're going to throw an 8-iron up in the air, at least 40 yards. I'm going to hit mine 40 yards to the right and draw it another 50 yards to the left in the wind. It's fun for a couple of balls. But then you're like, okay, what am I doing? Am I at Magic Mountain or Disneyland, or I'm at the range? So I didn't go today.
But that's what those guys were dealing with in Torrey, right?
It wasn't that. Well, I was there. I was watching them on Saturday. It was beautiful. Beautiful. Really no wind, maybe 5 mile an hour, 2 mile an hour wind on Saturday. Don't know about Sunday, but Saturday the weather was perfect. A little overcast. It had threatened to rain, but no rain came. It was good weather. It was good golf weather. Not too hot, not too cold. Probably the ball didn't fly as far as it could when it's a little warmer. So, I'm sure their caddies and their data told them that. But other than that, yeah, conditions was great. But we're going to get into that APGA soon. Tricia, Clark, what up?
What's up, y'all? I am recouping from the PGA Show, the 2022 PGA Show from last week. It was everything. For me, again, the DNI piece, the second session that we had, hosted by Mike Cooper and Jim Beatty, was everything. And then all those that, came on and spoke as well. It was wonderful. And so I know one of the pieces that they wanted to share out was they're going to have the African American Golf Expo. And that's going to be coming up this August 27th through the 31st. And it's going to be held in Charlotte, North Carolina. So if you didn't make it to Orlando, if you didn't make it to ATL, make sure y'all come out and, shout them out at Charlotte. And it's going to be great. Nice. We have a great lineup.
Nice. That's dope. How was, give us just a few tidbits. Was this your first show or your second PGA show?
So this is my second one. The first one I went to was pre-COVID. So obviously, I got to see, both views of it this year. I want to say they said they were down by 40%, from regular attendance. A lot of the big vendors didn't come out of whichever. But with that, with saying that, it was actually, it still turned out really good. We had 5 African American vendors out there doing their thing, and that was really nice to see out there and everything. And then, like I said, the session that they had, they were just speaking on all the things that are to come, all that actions and initiatives, all the grassroots initiatives that they have going on out there, different conversations about, how the monies is going to be, divvied out that they were talking about with the PGA. So it was good stuff. And they're going to have a link out, because Preston Pinckney, I don't know if y'all remember, he was on the show with us from AATQ.
Yeah. Bay Area. He's from the Bay Area.
So his production company was actually out there video and everything, the whole entire session. So once they get all that put together and edited, I'm sure they're going to have the link out to everybody, so you won't miss anything.
And we'll have them back on too when they
Oh, absolutely.
post
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
We'll have them back on to narrate and tell us and where they can find the link so everybody can watch it and pub his promotion. I mean his film company, because I know I was on the sites, on the Facebook sites, and people wanted to watch it. You know, the ones that couldn't be there, they were excited to get a peek in on the meeting. It's important.
Yeah,
All
and
that's important. Everything is important. Um, Black businesses there is important, whether people believe it or not. I know it's a cost to the businesses because I'm sure the booths are expensive and they don't always make up booth rents or whatnot with sales at that time. But it's important to represent, and you know, we
And I
want to
know,
be in the game, right?
yeah,
We
but I know
gotta go.
Jim Beatty with the African American Golf Expo was able to get some of those vendors there, at no cost, and then those that wasn't, of course, they had to pay. But again, we
That's
have
dope. Oh
representation there.
no.
Mm-hmm.
That's big. That's huge.
Yeah,
That's huge. That's huge. That's huge because we all are worried about the bottom line and being a successful business and staying in the black and not in the red. Okay. It's been a great year so far, 2022. We hit the ground moving. Golf is moving. Okay, let's move to the APGA. And it was a big weekend for them. It was a big weekend for them. And I'm just going to pre-rec the conversation real quick with I remember in 2010 and when they first started. And then it was, I don't know if it was on Facebook or in the Centennial or one of our black newspapers. And it kind of started out here and they would play our Muni courses, Chester, Washington. And I think it was like they had three tournaments for a year or two, 3 or 4 tournaments. And that's the humble beginnings, digging out the dirt. People now are seeing it because they've worked their ass off and stuff is on TV. It's been promoted. They've made great partnerships with State Farm and the PGA Tour and Lexus. And now people are beginning to understand that it is actually a nice mini tour. But in 2010, the vision was great because it was nothing. Right. It was just, it was nothing. It was people digging something from nothing and making something out the dirt. And so we saw them in San Diego at Torrey Pines. They have a great partnership. Dr. Cooper had told me a little bit about that when I talked to him. I went down to the Wilshire event last year, and he was like, we're partnering with the PGA Tour, and we're also going to not mimic, but where they play, we're going to try to play that Monday, Tuesday, or they got lucky because the final round was Saturday, so they got that Sunday, Monday, but it might be some Monday, Tuesdays right after the pros play their tournaments. And I'm going to share with the audience their upcoming schedule, which I think is amazing and DOPE. Very dope. So let's do some sharing if I can get it together. Okay. So, and I wish I could make it bigger, but you guys just got to trust me. So in February, they're going to play TPC Harding. You know, how many majors and how many great tournaments is be there. So San Francisco, TPC Harding. March is going to be TPC Louisiana at Avondale. March again is going to be at Queens Harbor, Jacksonville, Florida. The Pete Dye course at the PGA Club in Port St. Lucie, Florida. TPC Vegas, of course. TPC Scottsdale. The Horschel Invitational at TPC Sawgrass, dope. TPC Sugarloaf in June. The Horschel Invitational is May. June will be at Deer Run, TPC Deer Run, and July they're going to be at Valhalla in Louisiana. These are iconic courses. These are the kind of courses our mini tour players need to play, especially their PGA setup for PGA tournaments, and that's just phenomenal. And if you want to put those greens and play those courses, the APGA has really stepped up, worked their butts off, and I think it's great. Again, we had a tournament on Saturday and Sunday. I was there Saturday and watched the guys play. We was huddled around the 18th green. Wayne was there cheering them on. Let me tell you, Wayne is their biggest cheerleader. He be on it. He was on it. He was so supportive of our guys there at the APGA. It was just a blessing. Jeff Champ was there and many, many others. I don't want to leave
Nice.
out. Angelique, I think, was there. And so we had a winner, and there's been news about the winner. People wanted to see the stats and stuff, so I'm going to share the lineup, who came in what, and what money was given. Very dope. Let's go back and do some sharing again, and hopefully you guys can see it pretty good, but I'll just go. So Patrick Newcomb from Jacksonville, Florida, won the event and took home a purse of $30,000. Tim ONeal came in second with the even over the 2 days. Shot at 144. He took home 17 racks, 17,000. Marcus Bird, he was +4, took home 10,000. Willie Mack the third was a +5, took home about 7,000, 6,800. Trey Valentine did great out of Melbourne, Florida. He tied for fourth also. Kevin Hall tied for fourth also. They were all +5, and so on and so forth. I don't want to go down the whole thing, but you can look at this on the APGA website and really get the information. We did have some news that the winner, Patrick Newcomb, donated his exemption to Tim ONeal, who came in second for
Which
his
is
exemption,
phenomenal.
which is dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Patrick Newcomb, he's a Caucasian gentleman, but he's played on the tour. He wasn't a newbie. He wasn't cherry picking. He had played on the APGA tour before. He has conditional status on the Corn Ferry Tour already. I think he can play 8 or 9 tournaments a year, but it's conditional. He does not have his full Corn Ferry Tour card. So he's going to play some Corn Ferry Tour events anyway. So he gave Tim ONeal a shot to take his exemption, which I think is dope. We know we've had Tim on. He's getting ready to try to get into that senior tour. I think he's positioned to do that. His skill level is still very high. We watched him on TV. He's right there. Like I said, a few missed putts made him lose, but he was right there the whole time, and that's phenomenal for Tim ONeal at his age. I'm gonna let you guys chime in just a little bit before we bring on our other guests.
Yeah, definitely, man. Tim's got the game. When he gets to 18, there's a lot of pressure right there to hit the shot that he hit. And I mean, he hit it, ball rolled, bagged up right beneath the hole, gave him an uphill putt, just missed it, just tried to jam it. But you definitely could see that he has the game, and there's going to be a lot of wins on the senior tour for Tim ONeal, man. So. Big ups to him. Big ups to him.
Let's give him let's give it up for everybody that played that APGA tour. Guess what, family? It's working. The APGA tour is doing what it set out to do. How dope is that you start in 2010 and 12 years later, it's working. Not because it was easy for them, not because they didn't have to have strategic partners and the great players that was on and off the APGA tour. Tony Finau played the APGA tour. I think, did Harold Varner play? Maybe not. But a few people played and ran through that tour to get to where they are today.
It's opening up opportunities. Definitely.
It's
opening up opportunities.
Working. We have a mini tour ran and owned by us that is working. I don't want to, that's the point. Okay, Trish, give us a quick chime in on the APGA stuff.
So Tim ONeal, we obviously had him on the show, but I got to see him firsthand playing at the Invitational last year, and he was a grouper in front of us, and we got to watch some really phenomenal shots. And the thing about Tim O'Neill is he's so down to earth. He's so level headed. Like, I'm so looking forward to, this next chapter in his life. And I love this opportunity for him, with the APJ and with this exemption with the Corn Ferry Tour. I think he's going to show up and show out. And then, again, for, the senior tour, we already know he's ready for it. And he's going to make some moves. So super excited, super happy for him. And definitely big shout out to the APGA and all the things that they're doing.
And that is what's happening. Quick sidebar. Watch Marcus Bird. He's real.
Hey, don't sleep on Marcus Bird.
Watch Marcus Bird. He's real. Young men, watch him. Watch him. Keep it in, and all the other young men. But watch Marcus Bird. He's probably gonna make some noise. He's gonna make some noise. All right. We're gonna keep it moving because, like I said, we have a great cast today. Very important subject matter. Just a celebration. Any other tidbits in business before we move it on?
Nope. You provided us. Yeah. You provided that schedule. You provided that schedule for all of us. When we see that schedule nearby, come out and support the APGA. Come out and support them. They need that.
For real. This is the second one I've went to, and it's fun and it's exciting, and just like we like seeing them, guess what? They like seeing us also there to support them. It goes both ways.
Absolutely.
We like seeing them on TV and we like rooting for them. But guess what? The players like seeing us walking around and cheering. And so participate if it comes to a city near you. They're at great events. That San Diego event, the Torrey Pines event, was spectacular. They're finishing up on the 18th hole on the north. John Rahm is teeing off one hole over on the south course on the 9th. That close. I mean, they're playing. You know what I mean? It's just a phenomenal job the APGA has done. And full support is mandatory. Full support is mandatory. That doesn't mean we have to agree with 1,000 everything they do. You can have our own opinions about certain aspects of it, and that's well. As long as we have love and we support, it's just going to get better. They have proved that it works. They have proved through the test of time, 12 years now, that hard work and vision will get us to where we need to go. And that's my soapbox. I'm over it. Okay. We have something special coming up. We have the Sifford family and friends, and we'll introduce each one of them when we bring them on. We have the Centennial coming up. You want to do a quick prereq, Sif, about the Centennial, and then I'm going to play a little intro, and then we're going to bring on our guests. That's going to be the order.
All right, cool beans, man. Yeah, man. It's first of all, I'd like to thank you guys for allowing the Siffords to be the first podcast starting Black History Month. I think it was.
Got to.
Yeah, I thought it was well.
Y'all the first family. Y'all the first family of golf. Y'all the first family of golf. I just got to keep it 100. You guys are the first family of golf.
So yeah, man. So really appreciate you guys allowing us to be a part of the show. And this year, Big Daddy Charlie Sr. have been 100 years old. And there's a lot of celebratory things that are going to take place in 2022. You have a guy who paved the way for a lot of people, and not to ignore other folk who have also contributed in that manner. But here's a guy that did what he was supposed to do. And then they jerked the carpet right from under him at the last minute, not being able to play the Masters. So now he's getting his just due, and it's great for the Sifford family. Charlie Jr. will be out at the Genesis, the Tiger event. It's just a whirlwind of fun this year. Russ Crockett is involved, Al Quarles is involved, and it's awesome, man. So from the Sifford family to you guys, Manny and Trish, I really appreciate you guys giving us a platform and an opportunity to come on and talk about Charlie Sifford. PGA Doctor, Hall of Fame, Charlie Sifford.
Come on now, get it right. Get the numbers and the letters
It's
right.
our pleasure
So let's
and it's our honor. What you mean? It's our honor, fam.
So let's pre-rec this show with why Dr. Sifford was so important, what battles he went through, some trials and tribulations, and great victories that were done. So we're going to have a small intro, and we'll be back.
My tee time was at 10:15, and I stepped to the first tee and hit my drive. The guy I was paired with hit his, and I started to walk down the fairway. And then the familiar voice rang out, a voice that I'd heard over the phone the night before. "Nice shot, Smokey," he yelled. "How you gonna play the next one?" I looked over and saw a pack of 12 young white men walking down the side of the fairway, as close to me as they could get. They were all taunting me, trying to get my attention by being loud and unruly. I tried to ignore them as I got to my ball and selected a club. They were silent for a moment, but as I began my backswing, a voice rang out. "Don't miss it, darky." I pulled the ball to the left of the green, and they hooted. "You can't play for shit. Go back to the cotton fields. Hey, boy, carry my bag." They followed me down the fairway again and stood by as I chipped onto the green and putted out, screaming at me with every stroke. Those creeps followed me from the first tee all the way to the 14th green before the police finally came and took them away. They did everything they could to disrupt my game. They threatened, they shouted, and one time when I went to look for my ball, I found it surrounded by a pile of beer cans. "You're definitely back in the South," I told myself bitterly. "Ain't no doubt about that." Back in the South, I told myself bitterly.
And so that was just a little pre-rec. Russ is going to explain that narrative, and it's just a little bit of history and what Dr. Sifford went through. So without any further ado, let's bring on our guests and see what happens. All right. Welcome. We are in the golf locker room with the Sifford family, Russ Crockett, Al Quarles of Buckafogie, and of course our host, and Charles Sifford Jr. Julia, thanks for coming. Charles, thanks for coming. Everybody, thanks for being on. And let's get right down to business. Oh, look at him. You got the little one. Come on in. Well, this is a family affair.
That's right.
We are, again, like Trish said, we are honored to have the family on. He's our first family of golf, always and forever. And we're just going to get started right now. Trish, you want to introduce everyone, and then I would like Chris to continue.
Okay, so golf fam, we have again, like we said, the honor to have the Siffords on, Sifford and family. We got Julia Sifford. We got granddaughter of Mr. Charlie Sifford. We have Charles Sifford Jr. I mean, that's Junior right there. And we have Mr. Russ Crockett. You know, he was holding it down. He's kicked off the Centennial, so he's going to be able to tell us some more information about that. And then we have Al Quarles, that is, holding it down with the hats and the gear and everything for the Centennial. So we are so happy to have y'all on and so happy to hear, just everything and anything that we can gather. I'm tickled pink. I'm tickled pink. I'm gonna sit back. We're so happy to have you.
All right, more horns.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure to have everyone on, man. I'm sitting here looking at Charles Jr. The last time he was in North Carolina, I beat his brains out down there at. Matter of fact, I can't tell you what we played. I beat his brains out, but no, it's great to have Charles. He's a great ambassador, not only for the game but for the legacy of the Sifford family, and his daughter. Julia, the granddaughter of Charles Sifford Sr., is also is moving the bar forward. She runs the Charlie Sifford Foundation. So, Manny, make sure we give her some props on that. But she does a terrific job. She's a Zeta. I have to hear about those Zetas all the time.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, man, it's great. She does a great job with the foundation. She's very stern. She knows what she's trying to do, and they're gonna do some great things. And also, I got my man Al Quarles, man. I call him Al Boogie. Al stopped through here a couple of months ago. Starbucks. I bought his kids some drinks. He bought me some drinks. I gave him some iPads, and it's phenomenal. What Al's created in the hat, man. This is a quality dope hat. And he went in the lab, collaborated with my man Russ. Matter of fact, Russ had reached out to me and said, "Hey man, you think Al can pull this hat off?" I said, "No doubt." I said the hats that he's put out, they're very quality hats, and he's the man to do it. Russ is awesome, man. He's absolutely awesome. Last year, I'm sitting at a hospital with my dad, waiting on him to get out. I get a call from Charles Jr., and he said, "Man, I got a guy out of Houston that wants to put, some things together for Dad." And I said, "Okay, why?" He said, "He's going to be calling." I didn't know he was going to be calling me in the next 2 minutes. And so he called me in 2 minutes, man. It was almost like we knew each other for 50 years. And, he spent the last 20 years with Charlie Sr., man, and he has some extraordinary stories. And so Russ is, the family has given Russ permission to put this collaborative Centennial greatness together, man. And he's doing a terrific job. I mean, he's phenomenal, man. So once again, from me to Manny and Trish, I really appreciate you guys giving us the opportunity to launch Black History Month on the podcast. Now go my little cousin with that Callaway hat on. The last time I saw him, he was like this. Walking around man. He's grown up, man. So it's and that's the thing. When you see the great grandson of legacy, I know he understands, but he'll fully understand, once he gets older, the pedigree that he comes from. And that's going to be huge for him. So this is a great year to be alive. This is a great year of celebration. And I'm just proud and honored to be in the Sifford family and a part of it. Appreciate it.
Very nice, Sif. Thank you for that tribute. Okay. Charlie Sifford Jr. Give us just a quick background on your dad, why we celebrating him, the impact he's had on your life, and you've trickled it down to the whole Sifford family. Give us a quick, brief background on Dr. Charlie Sifford.
Okay, well, my father, started in the golf when he was 12 years old, caddying. He had a love for the game. He developed his talents while he was caddying. Got to the point where he was the best player of all the caddies at the country club where he was working at. Later on, when he became an older teenager, he moved to Philadelphia with his brother. So he had more opportunities to play some golf. That's where he met Howard Wheeler at Cobb's Creek. And they got to play each other. The first time my father played Howard beat him out of just about everything he had in his pocket. So he went back to the driving range and practice until he was able to play and beat Harold. But then they decided they were going to partner up and start playing a lot of money games around the country and develop a reputation as being a real good golfer. He later joined forces with Billy Eckstein. He was his valet, chauffeur, golf teacher. They traveled around the country. Dad was playing golf while Billy was performing. He developed the skills where he was able to go to the Black Tour at the time, what they call the Chitlin Tour, USGA. He played there. He won the tournament 5 years in a row. Then Teddy Rose beat him, and then he came back and won it the sixth time. He won it 6 times in 7 years, and they just got tired of putting his name on the trophy, so they just gave him the whole trophy. And so as his skills developed, he was able to get in little tournaments here and there. He won his first tournament in 1957, which was a co-sponsored tournament with the PGA, but it wasn't an official tournament because it was only 54 holes. And they gave, he eventually met Attorney Moss out of California, who worked with my father to file a lawsuit against the PGA because they had the Caucasian only clause in the bylaws that said that in order to be a member of the PGA, you had to be Caucasian. He threatened to pull the golf tournament out of California and told them that they wouldn't be allowed to play any tournaments in California until they eliminated this Caucasian only rule. So they went back and forth. 62, he was awarded a approved players card, and eventually he got his full card. He won his first tournament as a full-fledged member in 67, and he followed up in 69 with the LA Open. The first one was the Hartford in 67. He won. A lot of people don't know he was the first minority player to win a major. He won the 75 PGA Senior Championship. And later on, he joined the Senior Tour and won several tournaments there. And through his hard work and perseverance, the PGA awarded him a membership into the World Golf Hall of Fame. He was the first one initiated into the Hall. And this year I have the pleasure of being invited to the ceremony next month in March, when Tiger Woods will become the second African American inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Very nice. Let's get that up.
That's wonderful.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's great. Julia, let me unmute Julia real quick. The granddaughter. How has granddad impacted your life? I see the great grand over there. Y'all keeping the family going. Just give us a little something. Like I said, this is a conversation around the dinner table. I wish we had some steak to share, but give us a little. You know what I'm saying? There's some bourbon too, but give us a little. Just give us a little tidbit on how Dr. Sifford, granddad, impacted your life.
To me, he just was granddad. Like, I knew he played golf, when I was growing up. My mother used to say, he used to be on TV, and I'd be like, is Sifford on yet? Like, I knew that he was on TV, but I didn't really understand the significance of him until later on, maybe like in high school. And I would tell individuals about it. And it was kind of weird because they would this is the beginning part of the internet, and they would look him up and they would like, well, he only won this, he only won that, he didn't win this much money and all this other stuff. And what I know now, that was haters.
That's right.
But and then after a while, I just stopped even saying what was going on, who my grandfather was. Not that I wasn't proud, but people treated me kind of differently. And I wanted them to know me for me. And then once they realized who I was, and then I will open up and tell them about, who he was. Because I had one classmate, he told me like 10 years later, he didn't realize, he kind of blew me off when I told him about my grandfather. And he said he didn't realize the significance that he had in the game of golf until he reached maybe he was in his 20s, 25, around 25, where he started playing golf. and he saw how hard it was to play golf, and he realized what my grandfather went through, and he apologized because he didn't take what I said, serious. Like I said, everybody would like blow me off, or like I said, look him up on, it wasn't Google back then or whatever, but and just pick on what what his accomplishments were, and point that out, not the fact that he did what he did. So he impacted my life by when I used to go over there. That's one of the values of the focus on the nonprofit is he always had me count money. He would bring out a piggy bank, and he made sure I knew how to count coins and everything, and the importance of money. And that's one of the focus on the foundation is bringing awareness to minorities about the importance of saving money and also investing money, because right now a lot of individuals use GoFundMe for ways to pay for things, or they need money and they want you to cash app them things, and like they don't have savings. And so my grandfather, he instilled that in me. And also another focus on the foundation is the importance of music in someone's life. He really loved music. And every time I used to go over there, he always used to have his jazz playing, and we have some of his CDs, his tapes. This is that he had Billy Eckstein, things like that. Ella Fitzgerald, and Billie Holiday,
Nice.
and John Coltrane.
Hank Mobley.
Yeah, Hank Mobley. So this was very important in his life, music, and he always used to have this playing and dancing. He was really funny to me, and so he would play the music. But another thing in the minority community, we don't focus a lot on mental health, and he used music to help him cope with a lot of stuff too. And music helps you cope. If you ever having a bad day, you turn on some music and you get to dancing or whatever. I know I use it when I have migraines to calm me down and things like that. So we want to bring more awareness to music. I played the clarinet for 12 years. So that was a big part of my life too, playing the music, playing the clarinet. So that's one of the focus on the foundation. So we're gonna be rolling out t-shirts and cups and all that other stuff soon, very soon. So hopefully we'll get some support for that, and that's that.
I love it. I'm gonna get that up, and I'm gonna give you a quick tidbit. We're gonna probably make maybe a Spotify some playlist, Dr. Charlie Sifford playlist, and pass that around and get some donations for that foundation.
Okay.
And just little ideas. But thanks again for sharing some of your family experiences. It's just a blessing. Mr. Russ Crockett.
Yes, sir.
My guy. Met Dr. Sifford, had a great relationship. Give us a little background on you and Dr. Sifford.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me. And Sif, thanks for the kind words, brother. I got so many stories about Dr. C. I moved to Houston in the mid-90s. I'm originally from DC. So when I got down here, it turned out that we were neighbors. And I met him at a golf course that he was a pro at. And so I'm watching him hit balls, and he's 75 years old at this point, and he's hitting them crisp. And it's a trip when you meet a hero, but then you really get to know that person and they just like your boy. And so that's the relationship we had. He's like, Russ, get some of them cats, man, and I want you to put together a clinic, and they're gonna have to pay me for it now, because he was about his money now. He, as Julia said, he was always about his money.
That's right.
So, but the down to earth nature that he had was just beautiful, man. He would treat all the brothers. In fact, he loved being around the brothers. I never forget. He said, "Hey, I want you to come by and pick me up, and we're gonna go to the Spokesman. It's a bar that's downtown in the Third Ward. Okay, so we had to drive about 40 minutes in the car. We get there, and it's full of brothers, and we hanging out, and he held court in this spot. So his nature was about the people. He was about the people, and that was just a beautiful thing. So I got a ton of stories, man. I could go on forever, but I'll stop with that, man. I just wanted y'all to know that he was all love, all the stuff that he gets about being grumpy and being this and that. Man, it was all love with him for me.
Nice. All right, Mr. Al Corals. They brought you in. They asked you for your services. Tell us what Dr. Sifford means to you and the chance to really commemorate him with these beautiful, beautiful hats and apparel.
Well, let me just say that it's a beautiful family. I first met Chris, and it was instant love. And I had became friends with Julia and Charlie Jr. online, but I didn't know them. And then I met Russ. Russ called me and presented the opportunity, and we talked and we clicked right away. I loved the vision that he had for who Chris called PGA Doctor Hall of Fame, Charlie Sifford. You know what I mean? So that was presented to me. I was like, wow, do that right. I had to go to the lab and really think, if I'm going to do something for PGA Doctor Hall of Fame, Charlie Sifford, we have to represent. So, that's what I did. I was just, at first thing I did, I hit Chris up. I was like, yo, Chris, so I talked to this guy and I really like this guy, but I want to make sure that this is going to be aligned with what the family wants to do. And he was like, oh, 100%. And from there, it was over. So I went to the lab, the drawing board. Me and Russ started working on the idea, the concept, the design, the vision. And, we went back and forth. He ran it by the family. Once they approved, it was on and popping. So I'm excited. It's a true honor for me to just be involved with this whole project and with Buckle Show Sports. So I'm just happy. I'm just happy to be here. I think that we were able to put out a quality product that, people can be proud of for this legacy, this Centennial celebration. So I'm just looking forward to, continuing to grow with the family. I'm like a little cousin now. and take it as far as we can, because it's all about the good doctor and his legacy.
No doubt.
Very nice. Let's get that out for the sports and the work that Al Corals has done for the family. Very nice. Give him some air horns too. And piggybacking on what Julia was saying about how she would explain the legacy of her granddad to kids, and they just really didn't know that. It just goes to show how important doing shows like this, the celebrations for his centennial birthday is, because people need to know. And once they know, they get it. And then it gets passed on to the great grand over there with the Charlie book in his hand, loving it. And so let's dial back to when he got the presidential honor from Obama. Tell us a little bit about that, Charles Jr. and Russ Crockett, because I know you guys were doing it at that time. Charles Jr.
Yes, it was a great honor to receive that award. I was at Dad's house when they called. It's one of Obama's assistants called and wanted to know if Dad would accept the award is the Presidential Medal of Freedom Award.
Mm.
So I gave him the phone, and the lady talked to him and asked him would he accept it, and he said, "Hell yeah."
That's right.
No doubt.
Right.
I'll be there. So, they talked on the phone for a couple minutes, and he gave the phone back to me. And the secretary said that, they were forwarding information that we need in order to make plans to come to the White House. And so I hung up the phone, and Dad said, first thing he said, "Junior, we got to go shopping. I got to go get a new suit, some shoes. And I'm going to the White House to meet Obama."
Oof.
And I haven't seen him that excited, since he got inducted into the Hall of Fame. It was hard to tell what meant more to him, getting the Medal of Freedom Award or getting inducted to the Hall of Fame. Because the Hall of Fame is something he had worked for all his life. That was one of his goals. But to actually get the Medal of Freedom Award, he had no idea that he was going to be considered for something like that. But he didn't consider himself being a trailblazer as far as civil rights. He just wanted to play a game that he loved so much, and that was his whole purpose. We went to the White House. We met Obama. It was a great evening. He was ordinary person. You wouldn't, he was the president by title, but he was a sweet individual. He asked Dad for some help with his golf game, and Dad said, "Barack, I don't know if I can help you because you hit the ball from the wrong side."
That's right.
Barack was left-handed. But Barack and Biden, both of them were there, and they both just fell out laughing about that comment. And it was just a relaxed atmosphere. It was no, just like a bunch of people that's getting together, having drinks and dinner together.
Wow.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let's get that up there.
And I got something I want to say to Chris. He didn't tell you how he did beat me. I admit that. See, I'm 20 years older than him. He had me back there on them back tees with him.
Oh man, he took you to the tip.
5 irons to the green. He hitting pitching wedges.
That was Al Wood.
I had no chance.
We know Chris be taking advantage of people.
That was Al Wood. And the wild part about it, we're talking about President Barack Obama. We played Donald Trump's course that day. Wow. Trump National. It's nice.
I know it's nice, but it's off the list now. We didn't know then, but it's definitely off the list as we speak.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Barack Obama's a real cat. I remember I met him before his run for Senate, and he came out here, and everybody comes out here to Cali to get that money. And we was talking. My god sister was heavy into politics, and he pulled out a Newport on us. After everything was said and done, and smoked a port. He was like, "Oh, I was just hiding there." That's when I used to smell. Like I was hiding around the corner, but we about to blaze a Newport to get it in. And this was way before he was just thinking about running for Senate in Chicago. Just let me tell you, he's a real one. He's a real one. Always has been. Always has been. That was just a beautiful story. Chris, or Trish, we'll let you have some question time.
Go ahead, Trish.
I got a question for Julia. I know she had mentioned she had a real funny story she wanted to tell us about her granddaddy. So I wanted to make sure that we gave her that opportunity to tell us the story.
This is when he got inducted into the World Golf Hall of Fame. He always gave my mother jobs to do, like all the time. It was either getting clothes or whatever. This particular time was to write his speech. So she spent time writing his speech, interviewing him, doing different things. And she printed it all out for him, put it in a nice folder, made sure he could see it and everything. And before he went on stage, I guess he had to go to the restroom or something, and he left. and he left that what is it? The speech on the chair. And so my mother's hard work that she had put on, he had went up there and basically told that whole speech by memory.
Oh wow.
Or yeah, that whole speech, he freeballed it, and you would never be able to tell. It was one of the funniest speeches, but then it was also I still can't watch it without shedding a tear because he, talks about my grandmother and things like that and what he went through. But he had the gift to gab, and I remember different events he would go to, and he would be hilarious. But that one was funny because he had my mother. He made her write this speech, and then he left it on the table on the chair, and then got up there and gave one of the best speeches that I've ever seen. So, my grandfather, like I said, he was funny to me. So people sometimes see him in a different light, but I guess who wouldn't be kind of bitter or upset depending on because of what he went through. But when I was with him, he was funny, and like I said, he always was dancing and doing all the other things. And another thing, to talk about the White House, that was the last public event that he was at, and so when he went to go vote for President Obama, I took him. We went down there to vote. And he checked that one box. He said, "All right, it's time to go." And that's all he did. He didn't care about anything. All he cared was to make sure that President Obama got in the office. And it was so
mission accomplished.
Right, that he ended up able to meet him. And it's kind of like full circle. The first African American to get a PGA card, to meet the first African American president. He voted for him, and then that was like the last event he went to, and it's like very touching. So
that's beautiful. That is.
You just never know the lives you touch doing the right thing. You know what I mean? He's fighting his whole life to do the right thing and to achieve something that every human should have, which is the right of everyone else. And he fought and he accomplished and he overcame, and touching people's lives he probably never knew, never met, didn't even know existed. And that leads to a quick segue into how Tiger Woods named his first son after your granddad and your dad. And that is where you touch people and their peoples that you never know existed. That's the effect of the goodness and the fight he had. Tell us, Charles Jr., a little bit about that, because a lot of people think history doesn't matter. People who come before us to pave the way for us to do what we're doing now is not important. And I always thought that was a credit to, I do respect the past. I know I didn't get here on my own. It takes a village, and someone was fighting that good fight long before I even thought about golf, so I can play golf now. Did he ever talk about that? Did he ever talk about Tiger and how he named his son and what experiences and influence he had on probably Tiger's dad, which told Tiger about your dad?
Yes. The first time we saw Tiger play, he was like 14 years old playing in the junior tournament in Houston. At that time, Dad and Mom had moved down to Houston, and I flew down there, and we were to meet up with him because we were on our way to Austin to play in the Legends of Golf at Onion Creek in Austin. But they had a junior tournament at the Woodlands. It had rained like 2 days in a row. But they got the golf course playable, but it was playing long, and it was windy. And the first time we saw Tiger play, we was on one hole. Both all the he was playing. There was two other white kids playing with him, and they all hit pretty long tee shots. And so they were going hitting the second shot into the green. It was only maybe like 140 yards into the green. So these kids were hitting 8 irons, trying to get to the green. But they were going into a 15, 20 mile an hour wind and coming up 15, 20 yards short. And they couldn't understand it. So Tiger, he went in his bag, and I don't know, I think he got maybe a 6 iron or 5 iron and hit one of them knockdown shots. He knocked it under the wind onto the green about 10 feet from the hole. And Dad looked at me. We just looked at each other. Neither one of us said anything. But I could read his mind. He said, this kid is going to be something special. And
Nice.
lo and behold, he was right. He got to meet Earl, and him and Earl were, they were close because they both served in the military. And, he used to tell Tiger about my dad. It wasn't for my dad, it would have been hard for Earl wouldn't have been able to play golf. And it's a good possibility Tiger never would have been able to get on the golf courses that he was able to play. But they grew up through the years. Tiger and my father kept in touch whenever he was around, and they were near. Tiger would come over to the senior tour, or my father would go to the regular tour. It was one time we were down in Firestone, and Tiger was playing a practice round. Like Tiger, be block out people talking to him a lot. But my father called out to him, and he stopped in his tracks. He recognized his voice. He turned around, came over to the rope, lifted the rope up, and told him to come on out here on the fairway and walk up to the green with me. So everybody around there, who was that? Wanted to know who he was. And that just shows that for what all he did, he had the Hall of Fame induction, and yet still nobody really knew who he was. And but him and Tiger were real close, and he told him, one day that he said, when I get married, if I have a son, I'm gonna name him after you. But Dad didn't think he would. It was just something that he was, he thought he was saying just to be polite. But when it happened, he was at a loss of words. He just didn't know what to say. He was really proud that Tiger thought that much of him.
Just a human story, and how important that, Julia, you're going to do running that foundation, because you see the impact of Granddad and Dr. Sifford, what he has on young players, old players, and amateur hackers like us. Russ Crockett, give us a quick story. Matter of fact, let's take that back. Tell us about some of the Centennial celebration and what's been going on, and what's going on.
Yeah, all right, right on, man. Look, first of all, thanks to the Sifford family. I mean, I approached Charles. It's been a year and a half ago. I can't believe it's been that long. And I told him I had a couple partners, one in LA and one in Atlanta, who had connections in the movie industry. A bunch of my boys had hit me up, and they said, "Hey, man, you knew Charlie really well. You should try to push this story." And I said, well, one thing led to another, and we ended up, where we are today. And again, I'm grateful because I had nothing but love for Charlie and the Sifford family, and I've gotten to the point now where I talk to Charles once a week, and so me and him become tight, I think. And so the first thing we wanted to do was, the partner in LA said, "Hey, Charlie's birthday, his centennial year is coming up." And this cat, in LA had, run estates for Count Basie and Miles Davis and folks like that. And so he recognized that, even when you're celebrating somebody posthumously, that 100th year, that centennial year is critically important. So, shout out to him for, having that kind of foresight. And so, you know, at that point, I kind of, the wheels got rolling for me. And I said, well, the Just Let Me Play book is out of print. We need to bring that back. We started working on that. John Starks, the basketball player from the Knicks, had a cigar company, and you can't have a celebration for Sifford, for Dr. Sifford. I mean, look, I'm looking at Chris, man. Every time I look at Chris, with that cigar and his look, man, I think about the good doctor. So, we did that. So, we got the cigar, we got the book,
Nice,
and
nice.
and so wanted to go into 2022 with some momentum, the hat, and so we did. We created a nice Instagram site. You can follow us on Sifford Centennial 2022 on Instagram. Go check that out. Because basically, we're going to use that to try to just, feed the communication out there in terms of what's going on. So where we are now, fast forward to today, we reached out to the PGA Tour in December of 2019. Okay, we,
Oh,
we,
wow.
we sent a letter direct to the commissioner and said, hey, look, Charlie's 100's coming up. We need to do something. Y'all in. They are in. All right. So
Beautiful.
when Brother Charles goes out to Genesis, they're going to have a flag that is going to be on one of the holes. The winner of the tournament will sign the flag, and that'll be donated. Proceeds will be donated to charity. They're going to have the different scoreboards. They're going to have blasts of Dr. Sifford Centennial. They'll show our logo, which will be very similar to the one that's on this hat. That'll happen. And basically, the PGA Tour picked 4 or 5 events. They've been kind of low key about what exactly they're doing, but I mean, basically they sent our partners. WME is a firm that IMG is owned by, William Morris Dever, and so WME is helping us promote this, and they're actually helping us deal with the PGA Tour. So basically, they said, "Look, we're going to celebrate Charlie at the LA Open, Genesis, at the Memorial, at the Hartford. So the 2 tournaments he won plus the Memorial, and then because the President's Cup is in Charlotte, they're going to do an honorary, very similar thing with the flag and with the blast on the scoreboards. And then they're talking about the APGA event in Houston in November. So that's sort of their commitment, which is good. And we'll piggyback on that because we've got a number of kids events with either First Tee, or there's a group that Craig Kirby runs out of DC, and they're having an event on Dr. Sifford's birthday on June the 2nd in DC. It kind of coincides with Memorial. And again, this is really about how can we uplift Dr. Sifford's legacy so more people know about him. And, that can be done through social media, through reintroducing his book, by having this sort of a video cast like you guys have organized. And then also doing things with the proceeds that support charity, and basically promote golf to youngsters. Because, at the end of the day, that's what Dr. Sifford would have done. So, working with foundations like the foundation that Julia has established, to honor the family and honor, Dr. Sifford. So, a lot of things going. That little blast that you played at the beginning, we've actually created an audio of all of the chapters. So coming soon is an audiobook. And, I think, to me,
Just
the audiobook's going to be a real linchpin, because how many folks, have the time to really sit down and read a good book? Maybe you do once a year, twice a year, but to ride in your car, to walk, to exercise, to listen to somebody reading the book. I mean, I think people are going to be blown away by how significant a figure Dr. Sifford was, because I've been reading the book and editing and listening and everything, and as you're going through that process, there's a lot of stuff that I hadn't remembered when I read the book 25 years ago. So anyway, that's kind of in a nutshell. My wife is standing over me with the frying pan to tell me to shut up. So
I
not go
lock
on
mine
and on
down.
to
I
the
lock my
rest
door. I lock my office door. Keep her out. Lock the door, man. Lock the door.
So that's it, man. Happy to be involved.
Thank you, man. It seems like the family has a great team. Mr. Al Coles, I know they brought you in too. And again, just what does it mean to you to be a pivotal part of this celebration?
Well, I think it's huge, man. As Russ was talking, I just wanted to share that at the memorial, when they will be honoring Dr. Sifford after the Pro-Am event on Wednesday, the Black Golf Alliance is going to be there, and we're going to be celebrating not only Dr. Sifford, but Juneteenth, and just that whole week is really going to be about, love and uplifting. And I can't wait to be there. We've talked to the PGA and Memorial, and I've talked to Charlie Jr. and Julia about it. We're going to be their support, so it's an opportunity for folks to come and support. So just stay tuned to that as well, because I think the more we can get behind something as significant as this centennial for Dr. Sifford, you know, sometimes we're all we got. And I think that, you had mentioned, he had won had received nomination to the Hall of Fame. Some people didn't know who he was. We're not going to let, that happen anymore. We're going to make sure from the mountaintops, we're going to sing his praises because he deserves them. You know what I mean? And, that's what we're going to do. So it's just really good to be part of this movement. And, I'm looking forward to help with some other stuff. And, Russ didn't share it all, but it's a lot of good stuff happening this year. So I'm excited. So I would just say stay tuned. And, there are opportunities for everybody to support, not only with the hats or the book, the cigar, but, at the memorial, just stay tuned for all this great stuff coming down the pike. It's really some good stuff happening.
Good stuff.
Nice.
Good stuff.
Nice.
All right. We ain't going to keep y'all too long. We're going to go to Sif and Trish for closing questions and conversations.
Yeah, the thing for me is by carrying this last name Sifford, I get a lot of free stuff.
Oh, Lord.
I go to golf courses, man, and they automatically recognize the name, and then that brings on a conversation. And next thing you know, we're downstairs in the clubhouse eating, and all that kind of stuff. Man, I just not too long ago, I was over at in Greensboro at Grand Oak, and so I walk into the bathroom, and it's a huge picture of Charlie Sr. on the wall. I mean, a huge picture. And I was like, man, I was playing with Al Wood. And he said, did you see that picture? I said, yeah. So I went out, talked to the pro, and I said, man, I'm a relative of, Dr. Charles Sifford. He said, man, and that was a 40-minute conversation. I think I told Charles Jr. and I said, hey, anytime you're down here and you're at Grandover, man, you need to go over here and talk to this pro because he might give you the keys to his car. So that's the conversation that it generates, man. And I'm over at Sage Hill Country Club, and of course, on number 9 at the clubhouse, he has a almost like a plaque on the brick wall, and it's got what he did and this, that, and the third. So of course we go up to the clubhouse and we're sitting there, and it's an old guy that comes up to me, man, and he said, hey, Billy Carter was telling me that, you're relatives of Charles Sifford. I said, yeah. Man, this guy just breaks down and started crying. And I'm like, I know he had been drinking, but I know he wasn't drinking that much. And I said, sir, you okay? He said, yeah. He said, this probably doesn't mean anything to you, but he said, I remember this. He said, when he played here, I was a little boy. And he said, I was leaving the golf course. And he said, I couldn't have been no more than maybe 7 or 8. I was leaving the golf course, and he was leaving the golf course, him and somebody else driving wherever they were staying. And so he said he stopped and asked them, did they need a ride? And of course, they got in the car, and he dropped them off wherever they were going. He said, man, I'll never forget that as long as I live. And this guy is he's a CEO of something. So he says, anytime, man, that you guys want to, come over or whatever you want to do, man, you're more than welcome. So the Sifford name now, as Julia said, when she was coming up through, junior high school, it didn't ring like it's ringing now. And it took time for people to understand, who paved the way. What he had to go through in order for us to have an opportunity. But the one thing about the whole ordeal, behind every good man is a great woman. And so his wife, Rose, is not mentioned a lot. And so you got to understand, she had to keep a family together during a time when a man was getting death threats. Right. And do you know how nerve-wracking that could possibly be for a black woman, sometime being by herself, the cars on the road, and knowing that there goes a pitch, and knowing that he may not make it home. So Charles Sr., could you just briefly tell us about your mom, how she held the fort down while Dad was on the road doing his thing? Beautiful.
That's beautiful. She was the backbone. She kept him grounded, focused. And there were several times when he just wanted to flat out quit. But she would talk to him and remind him what the promise he made to Jackie Robinson. But Jackie Robinson told him, there's going to be times you want. He asked him, are you a quitter? My father told him no. So Jackie said, okay, I'm going to hold you to that. And because there's going to be times when you want to just walk off the golf course and maybe walk over into the gallery and take out your 5-iron and hit one of them guys that are heckling you on the sideline. But you can't do that. You got to be man enough to stand up to it, take it, and not say anything. Because if you mess up, that could be the end of it. That's all they were looking for, was just for you to mess up one time, and that would probably end it for everybody else.
Wow.
But she always reminded him, that of that conversation he had with Jackie. And when the first time he played in Greensboro, he shot, he shot 63 or 64 the first day and was leading the golf tournament. And he's staying over a friend's house because he couldn't find a hotel anywhere around the golf course that would let him stay there. So all of a sudden he got a phone call. He was thinking it was a call from my mom, but it was a call from one of the hecklers at the golf course that told him that if he showed up tomorrow at the golf course, they were going to carry him off the golf course because in a body bag, because they were going to kill him if he showed up. So he told the guy that, well, you just going to have to kill me because I'm going to be at the golf course. And he called my mom and talked to her about it. He said, she told him, they said, you know what you got to do. You know what you told Jackie you were going to do. So you just go ahead and play, and then show them what you made out of. And that, that's the way it was. Every time he ran into a tough situation, he'd talk to mom, and she calm him down and get him back on the right track. So he would continue to do what he wanted to do.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful.
So the thing is, I'll be quiet after this one. And Julia had stated it earlier that she saw her grandfather as a fun, loving guy. That's what grandparents do. I'm sure Charlie Jr. does that with your son. That's what, and I'm sure your mom has him line dancing in there all the time. She the queen of line dance. You tell her I said that. But the thing is that if you knew him, he was a you just had to get past that layer. It was tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's very tough and very stern. But if you got past that layer, then man, he was awesome, man. Talk junk to you. But as Julia, as she said, if anyone had gone through what he had gone through, it's difficult to trust. You don't know who to trust. I just went through Jim Crow. I don't know if I can trust this guy who's coming over here making a pitch. Or I don't know if this guy's befriending me because he wants to be my friend or wants to friend me because of some of the things that I've done. So, you have to put on a layer. So, but that's all I got to say. Cousins, I really appreciate you guys. When this weather clears up, we're going to get together. Hope that as Al reached out to me about the memorial, hopefully I'll be up there. Wish Cuz had an extra ticket to the LA to the Genesis.
Come on now. Come on now.
If you come on out, I got a room. Just get your air flare.
That's all I need to hear.
Come on. Let me know because I'm around the corner. I'll come too. We're gonna make a thing of it. I usually go to the Genesis anyway. Trish, final words.
So we want to thank y'all for coming on. This is a legacy right here. The great grand, the grand, the son, cousin. It's amazing. So obviously I'm a new golfer in here. So when Chris said about the man being emotional and maybe him being drunk, I'm not drunk. But when I tell you just listening and hearing all this, it gets you emotional because when you think about it, this game that we absolutely love, the just let me play, that right there is so huge. Just let me play. We just want to play golf. So this is what he had to endure in order for us to get out here the 2, 3, 5 days a week or whatever we do to get out here to do this game that we love. And we don't recognize that significance, especially when you say, there's some that just don't even know the true story or the everything behind, Charlie Sifford, so this has been everything. Absolutely. Thank y'all for coming on. And we're definitely looking forward to everything that's going to be going on with the Centennial. But again, that just let me play. That's everything right there.
Right.
Yeah, there he is. And it goes beyond professionals. It goes to that, like I said, the weekend hackers. We play courses now that were never allowed it to us in 1960 or even 70 or 50 or 40. And, everybody on this podcast probably plays and play where they want to play. Anytime they want to play it. But it's definitely due to the hard work and the fight of Dr. Sifford, Pete, there's Lee Elder, and let's not forget the jazz musicians and Joe Louis and Muhammad Ali, and there's a lot of stars, and our Jewish brothers and sisters out in Cali did a lot of stuff to get our professionals on tour too. So it took a village to get us here. We still got a lot of fight. We still got a lot of work, but sometimes we got to take the time and just celebrate and enjoy the work, and especially our centennial of Dr. Charlie Sifford. Those are our remarks. Charlie Jr., do you got anything? Parting words? Russ, parting words? Al, parting words?
I would just say thanks for inviting me. It was a pleasure actually getting to see and talk to people. I've seen Tricia on Facebook, but actually, it's a pleasure seeing her as close in person as you can get right now. And I've talked to him, and I didn't get a chance to meet Russ when I was down in Houston, but it seems we've been talking, and it seems like we've been knowing each other forever. I'm looking forward to meeting actually face to face with everybody soon.
Julia. Julia, parting words.
I want to say thank you, all of you all, for creating this podcast. You know, and bringing awareness to golf. Um, you know, that's what we have to do as far as getting more kids involved, is just exposure to it. So I want to thank you. I've watched several episodes. They're funny and they're informative and things like that. So thank you, and thank you for allowing us to share our stories with you. And that's it. You got anything to say?
Not really.
All right, Grand. That's the future too. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Mr. Russ Crockett, parting words.
Yeah, no, just thanks for having me. I very much appreciate it, and thanks for the platform. You know, this is a great way to get the word out so everybody knows what's happening. We got a lot of irons in the fire. You know, companies supporting opportunities for taking this thing to the next level. You know, with some films and that sort of thing. So just stay in touch with the Sifford Centennial 2022 Instagram, and we'll keep updating that as new things roll out. Yesterday we had Microsoft honored Dr. Sifford with a virtual museum. So if you go out to Instagram, you can check out the post, and hopefully Microsoft will help us as well in terms of supporting some of the charity work we want to do. So.
Very nice. That's so dope.
That's wonderful.
So dope. And of course, that information will always be in our liner notes and on our IG and Facebook page, because that's what we have to do, is promote what we show on the podcast. Mr. Al Corals, Bucker Fogie Sports, parting words.
Just respect, respect. I have nothing but respect for the family, the work that Dr. Charlie Sifford has done to advance this game that I love so much. He helped my dad, be able to do some of the things he did in the game. So, I just have nothing but respect. That's all.
Sounds good. And we, Julia and Russ, we see those stogies. We see the stogies. We gonna get it going.
I know.
I do. But,
we do.
We do. But what we're gonna do is definitely have the IG link and the cigar link and the book link and in our liner notes, and we'll have a post also on the Golf Locker Room podcast platforms. Oh, I love that. Charlie takes
there's
a shot.
A children's book as well. Charlie takes it. So this is very informative, and it helps, bring awareness to kids ages like 4 up to 8. It's like that.
Very
type of
nice. That's a beautiful.
I need that for my grandson. I need that for my grandson.
Julia, how do we get that book?
It's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon.
Okay. Yeah, and she has other books too, but and she also has a what's it called?
I know there's going to be a new book coming.
Oh, okay. We got new stuff.
She also has a paperback that's out now.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. All right, Sif Dog, that's on you to get all that information, and we'll put it on our platforms.
Absolutely.
Cousin Sif Dog is responsible for getting the links. Put that on
air. Okay, I have one more thing I wanted to mention. In March,
for sure.
At the Players Tournament, the PGA has announced that they have set up a Charlie Sifford Award. This is going to be the first year that it's being presented. It's presented to people that have worked towards the diversity in golf. It's going to be given every year, presented at the Players, and the first recipient will be Renee Powell from East Canton.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Let's get that up. We got to have Renee on, and she'll come on. She'll talk about that. See, and I see it's just getting bigger and bigger and better. And the love, although it's a tough road, we getting there. We getting there slowly, but
sure. Just had the right person at the right time in the right place.
Definitely.
Hey, Russ.
What up?
Man, send me the cigars to me. Don't send them to Charlie. He ain't gonna do nothing but look at them.
Well, I smoke them, but I can't smoke them in the house. If I did that, I have to move out.
Me too. Me too. I know that's right. I know that's right. And on that note, again, thank you to the First Family of Golf, the Sifford family, for coming on the show. You already was family anyway, but anytime y'all need to get anything out, especially about the Centennial or about Dr. Sifford, which, you know, Dr. Sifford got his honorary doctorate at St. Andrews. We forgot to even mention, which is phenomenal. I think Miss Powell, Dr. Powell got hers too, or she's an ambassador at St. Andrews.
Yeah, she got a doctorate.
Also, yeah, I got the doctorate from it's stepping up,
Yeah,
overseas stepping up. It's just a blessing for our people to just be rewarded and be acknowledged for the things that they have done. Sometimes we get very negative because we're in the fight, which we need to fight, you know, every step of the way. But sometimes we need to step back and just appreciate some of the acknowledgments and some of the glory that has been well deserved from our legacies and our legends. Yeah. And on that note, guess what, y'all? Every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. We are on all the podcast platforms. You want to listen to the Sifford family, learn more about the Centennial. We'll have the IG stuff up. You can listen to this podcast in your car. Not everybody's able to be on YouTube at 8 p.m. They're getting dinner. They're doing stuff with the children. They can't sit down and watch YouTube for an hour. But guess what? You can take it in your car, or you can also listen to it on the Facebook, on, like the people say, the Google. You can listen to it on the Facebook. Look at those beautiful pictures in the middle of our screen. Just a blessing, a beautiful family. We are nothing men without our wives. Just keep it 100. We attain greatness because of our partners. That's real talk. And that's going to keep it 100. And on that note, applause, air horns, and an outro video. Let's see where my video.
Y'all.
Thank you guys so much for coming in. And we out.